Good day, everyone. I am Raman Kindaton, and I am the first reporter of the Group 6. First, the topic that I will be discussed is about the procedures, the four basic procedures in undergoing restorative justice. So, the first stage is investigation stage. At this stage, the victim is informed about the concept of restorative justice. The investigator then gathers the victim's account of the offense and how the experience affected their life, family, and future. And the victim also asks for suggestion on how the harm can be repaired. So, mga po ang investigator o suggestion sa victim kung sa ilahang own perspective kung unsa para sa ilang ma-repair ang katong mga harm nga nitabo sa ilaha, mga property nga nawala, mga fear nga natagamtaman nila or mga psychological issues. Mga suggestion ang investigator. This investigation stage is all about bringing or gathering information from the victim. So next stage is about supervision stage. So the supervision stage, restorative justice outcomes such as payment of civil liabilities or agreements made during the process may be included as conditions for the client's release or provision and must be reflected in client's MPDP or My Personal Development Plan. So the clients there are the victims. So this stage is all about supervision such as payment of civil liabilities or agreements made during the process. So this stage will the investigator will supervise the agreements and the decision made by the victims to the conference they made para makita sa mga investigator kung okay pa ba ang dagan sa procedure, okay pa ba ang pagbayad sa offender sa ihang civil liabilities, payment niya, or ang agreement is haom pa ba sa law or sobra na ba. The third stage, which is the supervision process with restorative justice impact. So there are at this stage it emphasizes the person or the personnel, the officer who take charge in processing or in doing the procedures and restorative justice and the impact to those clients. First one is a probation and parole officer individually assigned to handle investigation and supervision. Case law shall act as restorative justice planner. The following are responsibilities of a parole and probation. So, the following, kani siya, the PPO is individually assigned to handle investigation and face-to-face investigation and supervision on that case. Shall also act as a restorative justice planner, advisor, gatherer, mga trabaho sa probation and parole officer. So, as I summarize sa following responsibilities niya, isa sa mga responsibilities sa usa ka parole and probation officer, dili lang bilang investigator or supervisor ana nga case, is siya po ang muhanay sa procedure sa restorative justice nga walay casualties or any issues na mabangga sa law or any circumstances na dili makatabang to promote restorative justice to the between the victim and offender. So siya ang mahulog nga mopatunga or the guidance of the restorative justice. So next is the chief probation and parole officer approves cases for peacemaking encounters, issues office or the supervisor in case loads, diba? But ang mag-approve sa case loads is ang CPPO or Chief Parole and Chief Probation and Parole Officer. And also, he or she is the one issues office orders and monitors the implementation of plans. Ang tanan plano sa victims, plano sa PPO, siya ang muhimay-himay or siya ang ga-monitor ana if okay pa ba ang dagan or effective pa ba na sa both parties. Next is procedural safeguards. Safeguard in restorative justice. Procedure ensures that the process is fair, safe, and respectful for everyone involved. Clients must first admit the offense and be encouraged to take responsibility. The restorative justice planner may personally visit stakeholders to confirm their willingness to join. The victim's preferred schedule and venue should be prioritized. So it is clearly stated there that procedural safeguard maintains or making sure that the procedure is fair, not under biases, pantay. There is justice from restorative justice. Muna lang mo to. So that is the 4 stages of the basic procedures of restorative justice. So we will now proceed restorative justice outcomes. So there are 4 restorative justice outcomes. So this is the result, mainly the result of sa mga nahitabo na proper procedure sa restorative justice. So number 1, or the first one, is restitution. So restitution is the process where the offender accepts responsibility and compensates the victim for financial or non-financial harm. It is a key victim's right and helps support the victim's recovery. Courts often require restitution as a probation condition to teach the offender responsibility. The probation and parole officer must ensure the offender fulfills this obligation. So restitution, it is all about big accountability, big responsibility in the part of the offender. The second one is the community work service. So there are mainly five. Maybe dahil mga nadungag ani sa tong government karon, but this is the mainly 5 community work service. This is part of the impact. One of the impact of restorative justice is community work service. Community service is unpaid work performed by the offender for the benefit of community as part of a restorative justice agreement. It may require the offender to complete specific service task as part of their accountability. So as part of their accountability, they need to serve the community. As a offender, they need to uphold or give benefits in the part of the community na makatag sila itong service. So unsa man ang mga service, there are mainly 5. There are many, but according to the book, there are mainly 5. The first is mentoring and integrational service. So intergenerational service. This mentoring, the mentoring in an intergenerational service, one of the example of this is giving care to all people. To example, with senior citizens, orphanage, or street children. Mentoring, they will mentor the street children, the orphan, mga ulila, mga senior citizens. They will pangaralan nila or tabangan nila, alalayan nila in the daily lives gabuhaton nato ng mga tao, mga orphan, mga street children. Alalayan nila into good things, alalayan nila nga dili mo commit og any nga mga butang nga mali. Like kanang i-guide nila sa tama nga mga way, or tabangan nila mabubuhat sa daily nga buluhaton nato ng mga tao, but around their community, around silang community, tigulang, senior citizens, mga orphan, mga street children. Next is economic development. So economic development, example is tagaan sila og business. They will teach by the government or the other company to handle business, to know how to handle responsibility in terms of business, and growing their economic lives and developing their economic lives through business, livelihood project, even small business, sari-sari store, as long as matudluan sila nga unsaon pagbuhat ug kanang source of income na sila mismo ang ningkayon. So next is citizenship and civic participation. So the citizenship and civic participation. One of the example of this is kanang mga offender gina-interact sila or ginabutang sila ito sa mga event. Example, i-train sila how to dance, how to involve in drama para gamiton po nila nga ma-entertain ang community, ma-involve ang mga kabatanunan to kana maghatag og kanang maghatag og inspiration sa mga tao nga ma-engage mo nato nga talent. The offender learn how to have talent, how to improve their skills, talents, drama, singing, dancing. Dili lang po para ma-entertain ang community but para mahimo to nga inspiration sa next generation or sa other people that they will engage to in that certain talents for the good of all. Next one is helping the disadvantaged. So one of the example of helping disadvantaged is kanang nasa jail, nasa detention, rehabilitation. The offenders what we call that, matawag sila nga living testimony to the offenders nga nasa sulod. Katabang sa dito, mag-assist sila sa soap kitchen, sa kitchen dito sa sulod, assist sila sa pag-tutor sa mga peers, mga barkada, mga kauban nila, ginatulungan nilang tama nga asal, tama na mga butang. Very big example is kanang ginashare nila about the gospel. The last one is crime prevention project. So this is a very common community work service based sa nabuhat sa offender. Ginashare niya kung unsa ang mga posibilidad ganang mabuhat sa katao para maging aware ang community sa mga symptoms in that certain crime. We are in the third one, which is counseling. Counseling, whether it is individual, group, or family, it is goal to enhance the client's interpersonal relationship and it help him or her become more aware of his or shortcomings and weaknesses. This will also help him or her overcome painful experiences that drove him or her to commit a crime or offense. So counseling, ang impact sa restorative justice, wala lang sa victim but also sa offender. Makabalo siya kung asa siya nagkamali, makabalo siya nga nakabuhat siya mali nga nako kayo, kabalo siya nga makatuon siya kung sa pagiging honest, and also pinagi atong pagiging honest niya nga nakasala gid siya. Next or the last one is family therapy session. So dili lang sa offender as I said but also sa family or sa victim na tagaan og the family will receive a family therapy session kung sa man ang mga psychological issues nga nabuo sa family. Ginatagaan silang therapy to forgive, forget, to let go, and let God, to let go. For furthermore topics, it will be discussed by my group mates. Thank you for listening. Shalom, shalom, and God bless you.
Good day everyone, I am Julius Cesar Almaturan. Today, I'll be going to discuss my assigned topic, which is what is voluntarism. So, in the first paragraph explains that the basic meaning of voluntarism. It highlights the voluntarism means offering your time, skills, and effort freely without expecting any reward. So people volunteer because they genuinely want to help others, to contribute community, and support social issues. So in the second paragraph explains that it states that the historical origin of voluntarism in the Philippine probation system. It explains that as early as 1976, the law already allowed trusted community members to supervise offenders undergoing probation or parole. These volunteers were known as probation aides and played a supportive role in rehabilitation. So the third paragraph it explains that the government formally recognized the importance of voluntarism through the Volunteer Act of 2007. The law makes it a duty for government agencies to develop volunteers programs and encourage workers in government to participate in activities that help improve communities socially, economically, and humanely. The fourth paragraph it states that the title or probation aides was changed to volunteer probation assistants. under RA 10707. So it clarifies that VPAs continue the same role, helping probation officer monitor clients, guide them, and support the rehabilitation process while they undergo probations. And the last one is, it explains that Executive Order 458 strengthened and expanded the BPA program. It instructed the probation and parole administrations to actively recruit qualified volunteers, provide them with training, and give them roles in offender supervisions and community crime prevention. The goal is to involve the community more in correctional programs. So the next one is objectives of volunteerism. There are five objectives of volunteerism. The first one is to amplify the extent of services rendered to the clients in an effective yet economically means through the use of volunteers. So it means that using volunteer helps the agency reach more clients and provide more services without spending too much money. Volunteers extend the agency capacity while still keeping the quality of service. So the second sentence, it means that this aims to train and prepare VPAs so that they become skilled helpers in supervising probationers, parolees, and pardones. Their assistance strengthens of the work of parole and probations officer, leading to better client monitoring and rehabilitations. The third sentence is, this means encouraging citizens to learn more about how the criminal justice system works. By involving volunteers, people become more informed about probation, parole, rehabilitations, and roles of different justice agencies. The fourth one is it explains that this aims to involve communities more actively in preventing crime and helping offenders reform. By participating, the community becomes a partner in maintaining peace, supporting rehabilitations, and improving justice processes. And the last one is, it means that volunteerism encourage people to care more about what happened in their community. It inspires them to participate in activities that improve social life, supports local development, strengthen culture, and contribute to community decision making. And so that's all for the objectives of volunteerism. And the next one is advantage of volunteerism. There are two advantages of volunteerism. So the first one is open new fields for community involvement in corrections and for training youth leaders, barangay organizations, and civic groups in social development, and make it possible for the correctional system to exercise supervisions of offenders at less cost to the government. So it means that volunteerism creates opportunities for different members of the community, such as youth leaders, barangay officials, and civic groups to participate in correctional programs. This strengthens community involvement by allowing ordinary citizens to help rehabilitate offenders, support crime preventions.
So in continuation, the characteristics of VPA. The first is give a continued affection. It means always show care to the client even if their behavior is difficult. Next is introduce new positive experiences. It means help the client discover healthy and beneficial activities. The third is beware of responsibilities. It means understand your duties towards both PPA and the client. Fourth is respect confidentiality. Keep the client's personal information private. Fifth is honor commitments. Means always show up on time to fulfill your promises to your client or anyone else. Six is consult with the PPA staff. Means ask PPA staff for guidance whenever you're unsure about something. 7 is keep PPA informed. Report any major changes or important incidents involving the client. Number 8 is be a good behavior model. It means show the client proper behavior through your actions and words. Number 9 is participate enthusiastically. It means join volunteer meetings and training with a positive attitude. Lastly, number 10 is believe that human beings can change. It means that trust that clients can improve their behaviors and reintegrate into society. Next is qualifications to be a VPA. First is 35 years old or older. It means basically the person must be mature and experienced. Second is reputable member of the community. It means the person should be trusted and known for a good behavior. Third is resident of the same community as the client. The person must live near the client for a easier support and easier communication. Number 4 is with adequate source of income or financially able. It means the person should be financially stable and not dependent on the role. Number 5 is willing to serve without compensation. It means basically the person must ready to volunteer without experiencing payment. Number 6 is willing to prepare reports. The person must be able to write and submit necessary documents. Number 7, no criminal record except former clients. It means the person must have clean conduct or proven rehabilitation. It means wala pa siya nakulong dati or unsa ba? Wala pa siya na-convict. And lastly, adequate good health. It means the person should be physically and mentally capable of doing the role. So healthy siya no, unsa ba? Ano siya, makaya niya buhaton ng role. This one is roles of volunteer probation aides. First is number 1 is as direct supervisor. Its factors is supervise up to 5 clients at a time. It means that the VPA monitors and guides a small group of clients. The second factor is coordinate with the officer on case and CCPIC, PPO or OIC. It means that they work closely with probation officers to follow the client's treatment plan. Next is submit monthly and other required reports. Means they regularly update the office about the client's progress. Unsa na ba tong client? And fourth is perform other assigned tasks. And maybe assigned by the officer on case or CPPO or OIC. Means they help with any additional duties given by the supervising officer. So it means that gatabang pud sila no sa mga additional duties sa mga supervisor. The second roles of probation volunteer probation aides is as a resource individual. First factor is resource speaker. It means they share knowledge about volunteerism, justice, or community topics. Second is counselor to other clients, people who need help. It means they provide advice and emotional support to clients or others who need help. Next is donor, sponsor, or referring person. They can offer resources or connect clients to helpful programs. Program coordinator. And the next is program coordinator. It means they help organize activities or programs for clients. The last is mediator, restorative justice implementer, therapeutic community facilitator. It means they assist in resolving conflicts guiding healing process, and supporting community-based rehabilitation. So that's all.
Rules of volunteer functions and responsibilities of volunteer probation, ADASER probation aides. Number 1. Work in close consultation and cooperation with the supervising officer. This means the VPA should always coordinate with the supervising officer. They should ask for guidance, follow instructions, and update the officer about the client's situation. Number 2. Keep all information about the supervisee in strict confidentiality. So the VPA must protect the client's private information. They should not share details of case or personal matters with anyone unless required by law or by the officer. Number 3, maintain an honest recording and monthly reporting of activities to supervising officer. The VPA should record everything truthfully. Every month, they must submit an accurate report for their interaction and observations about the client. Number 4, devote substantial and quality time for supervision of clients and perform tasks such as offer guidance and counseling. So they help the client by giving advice and emotional support, especially when the client struggles. Act as placement facilitator. So they help the client find opportunities such as jobs, school programs, or training to support their rehabilitation. Implement treatment objectives as provided in the program of supervision. So they follow the plan given by the officer and make sure the client meets goals like attending sessions, doing community work, or improving behavior. Refer to appropriate agencies clients with various needs. So if the client has spiritual, emotional, or mental, or physical needs, the VPA helps connect them to the right service like counseling, centers, hospitals, or support groups. Act as resource individual. So they provide useful information or support. They may help the client or the community. Number 5, endeavor to heal relationships among the victim, client, and community. So the VPA helps repair broken relationships through communication, mediation, or community activities. Number 6, attend DC or and RJ sessions activities as required. So they must participate in therapeutic community and restorative justice sessions to support clients' recovery. Number 7, assist in other rehabilitations activities for clients as necessary. So they help with any other programs or activities that support the client's positive change. So next is the volunteer probation aid case assignment procedure. So number 1, supervising officer identifies a suitable match of VPA and client. So the officer studies the client's needs and picks a VPA who will fit well with them. Number 2, CPPO or SO informs the VPA and the client individually about the planned assignment. So both the VPA and the client are told about the pairing. So the officer explains how the process will work. So number 3 is CPPO assigns case of VPA under the SO through an officer order. So an official document is issued to formalize the assignment of the case to the VPA. Number 4, SO formally introduces the client and the VPA to each other. So the officer arranges a meeting so both can meet properly and start their working relationships. Number 5, VPA conducts initial interviews to know basic information. So this means that the VPA talks to the client to understand their background situations and the needs. Number 6, VPA and client make tentative plans for supervision. So it means that together they agree on schedules, activities, and goals for the supervision period. Number 7, VPA studies the client's documents while keeping everything confidential. So this means that the VPA reviews the client's reports, history, and plans to understand how to help them better while still protecting their privacy.